Good afternoon, school. My name is Dhruvi Bekar. And today our topic is hydrological cycle. So I'm going to ask Prabjot, what is hydrological cycle?
Hydrological cycle is the global movement of water between air, land, and sea.
What is the other name of hydrological cycle?
The other name for hydrological cycle is water cycle. So, what are the process of hydrological cycle?
So we have two processes, which is store process and flow process. In the process, we have atmospheric, the land, the sea. In flow process, we have evaporation, transpiration, condensation, precipitation, infiltration, and percolation through flow, surface runoff, ground flow. What is atmosphere?
Atmosphere is where water exists either as water, vapor, or as minute droplets of clouds.
What is land?
Land is where water is stored on the surface in rivers, lakes, or resources.
What is ocean?
It is elemented that esteemed that 95% of the earth water is stored in the sea or ocean.
So we also have another topic which is known as the weather. What is weather? Weather is the atmospheric condition at a certain place and certain time. So weather is measured, recorded, and observed at the weather station. Name the weather instrument. So we have here rain gauge. The element of rain gauge is rainfall, and rainfall is measured in millimeters. And we also have thermometer, and the element of thermometer is temperature, and temperature is measured in degrees Celsius. So we have another instrument which is wind vane, and then the element of wind vane is wind direction, and wind direction measures is measured with compass direct. And the unit of wind direction is compass direction. So we also have hygrometer, and the element of hygrometer is humidity, and humidity is measured in percentage. We have anemometer, which the element of anemometer is wind speed, and wind speed is measured in kilometers per hour. We also have barometer, which is the element of barometer is atmospheric pressure, which is measured in millibars. We also have human eye satellite that is used to measure cloud cover, which is measured in octaves. So, yeah, thank you.
You have explained about the rain gauge. Yeah. Rain gauge is placed above 30 centimeter above the ground. Why?
It is placed above the ground, like you see the rain is like heavy, and like you see the water is splashing, like the water will splash into it and will give wrong amount of rain.
Why don't they put near the buildings and trees?
Like you see the water from the roofs can enter enter the rain gauge, and it will give a wrong reading, and the trees will like stop the rain from entering the rain gauge. Thank you.
So up next is Year 11 Geography. permanent ramification. Ramification means aftermath, or it means something. It means aftermath. Yeah, it means a distraction. So when we look at this graph here, it shows that the temperature has been rising since the year 1850 up to date, and it's continuing to rise because of climate change. And what causes climate change is quite a lot. And we look at greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect is how climate change happens. This is how it happens. There's some greenhouse gases that are usually emitted from us to the atmosphere. Some examples of those greenhouse gases, right now we know them. Some are uh, carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, etc. So those gases are usually emitted into the atmosphere, and when the sun rays come from the sun and enter in the and penetrate through the ozone layer and go to the earth, earth absorbs some of the heat, but some of the heat is reflected back to space. But the accumulation of these greenhouse gases causes the heat to be trapped at the surface of the earth, thus causing the warmth of the earth. So that is actually about greenhouse and climate change. Now we look at causes. So there are actually human activities can cause this climate change, and also natural earth can cause this climate change. Now we start with the earth, how earth causes climate change. There is yeah, hold this. There is a theory called the Milankovic theory. It is a person called uh, Milutin Milankovic who came up with this theory. So this is how it affects climate change. This orbit, you see, this is the orbit of the Earth. The orbit of the Earth usually tilts after every 1,000 years, and after it tilts, that means the sun will actually focus its rays on a different part. So the North Pole can actually come to this side, and it's continue tilting like that. And if most of us knows that the Earth is a sphere, that is not correct. The Earth and its orbit is actually an oval. It's oval in shape. So once the Earth is going around the orbit, there's some parts in the oval which are closer to the sun, and that causes the heat to actually hit the part of the Earth that is nearer the sun. So that causes the Earth to warm. The next cause is the natural causes of Earth. The next cause is volcanic eruption. So I've just explained this Milankovic theorem. Now it's volcanic eruption. Volcanic eruption affects climate change in this form. When a volcano erupts, the gases carbon two oxide CO2 is usually emitted from the ashes and the volcanic eruption, and it goes to the ozone layer too, and that traps the heat, which causes global warming. Then, when you come to human activities, it's actually one of the major ones. We look at fossil fuels. Fossil fuels is like coal, gasoline, and when the exhaust from the cars and industries and everything, when they emit such carbon dioxide, it goes and traps the heat at the ozone layer, which makes the earth to be warm and causes global warming. Um, we look at agriculture. How does agriculture affect global change? It causes global change in this way. Um, there's a massive amount of excrements. Excrements is excretion from animals. When they excrete, it produces a gas called methane, which methane then goes and traps the heat in the ozone layer. Okay. Then we have solid waste. Human beings actually dump plastic bottles and other waste in some landfill somewhere, and later then burn them or something. So that causes gases to be emitted and trap the heat in the atmosphere. So she will explain the evidences that ozone layer is really in the world.
Good afternoon. So, I'm going to be speaking of the evidences of climate change, and there are four major ones, which include ocean, weather, food, and health. Let's start off with ocean. When
She's Tamana and his hardship, and we are here to present a geography topic known as globalization.
Globalization is the coming up of countries together for the purpose of trading. So these are the benefits of globalization. One, expanding markets, especially in emerging and developing countries. Two, growth of transnational corporations and intergovernmental organizations. Third benefit, cost and mobility of labor or economic migrants. Fourth, growth of trade, foreign investment and aid. Fifth, improvement in communication information technologies. Sixth, improvements in transport like speed, cost and capacity.
So, what are some of the advantages of globalization? Some of the advantages are like the economic growth, development of infrastructure, and and affordable products, and also the development of technology. Since it's gonna be involving the entire world, we need a method, a way to communicate with each other. And what are some of the disadvantages? So some of the disadvantages are that there's gonna be lack of employment. Since there is development in technology, basically machines will take over on human labor, so there will be no employment. Then there will be environmental costs as a lot is taken from the environment, such as water for industrial use. There will also be inequality, as some countries may benefit of the expenses of other countries. Any questions? Thank you. Disadvantages of globalization. Disadvantages of globalization. One, there is no employment. Two, environmental costs. Three, inequality among countries. What exactly do you mean by inequality? Other countries benefiting more than others? Please elaborate. It's like some it's like some countries may benefit of the expenses of other countries. No? So basically, like the country that's doing the work can go down and like some other country can benefit from that country. It promotes inequality among the countries. You've told us that globalization leads to lack of employment. Does that mean that there are not people who are going to work during globalization? Is only the machines that are going to be used, or is it the reduced case of manpower with regards to jobs? No, there will be people who will work, but then the chances of the people to work will be low because the machines will take over. Yeah.
Project is year 9 with history.
And here we are year 9 and we are doing history today. The topic is King Henry and his marriages. King Henry and King Henry the Eighth. And the participants are Riya Thaka, Dhruvi Banderi, Vaishni Kere and me, Krupesh Kare.
Okay, in during before Britain used to be ruled by monarchy, meaning that they used to be ruled by kings and queens. So And then leadership was inherited from the parents or to the from the grandparents to the children. King Henry VIII became king in England, and he inherited leadership from King Henry VII, who was his father. And then he had a need of looking for a son. So he had 6 wives. Can you imagine? He married 6 wives. His first wife was Catherine of Aragon. He was looking for a son, but she unfortunately gave birth to a daughter who was called Mary, first of England. And afterwards, she was not able to give birth again. King Henry got so upset and wanted to divorce her. And so the Pope did not approve their divorce. And then he went to the Catholic Church and found a way to divorce her. After divorcing her, he went on and married Anne Boleyn. Anne Boleyn gave birth to a daughter. And since he was very, very angry with that, he wanted to behead her. But he could not behead her without a reason. And so he lied that he had over 1,000 love relationships and was practicing witchcraft. And so with that she was beheaded. But the real reason was that she didn't give birth to a son. Okay, then he went on and married Jane Seymour. Luckily and finally, after all that time, he got a son who was called Edward VI. But then, while giving birth, Jane died. So after Jane, he married 3 other women. One was Anne of Cleves, Catherine Howard, and Catherine Parr. But he never found a son which he wanted. He wanted another son but didn't get another son. He wanted, like, you see, another son. In case of anything that would happen to Edward, he had someone else. It is our end of presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
Why did they want a son?
King Henry VIII wanted a son to inherit leadership in England, so that after his death, a king can rule England and not a queen. Are there any more questions? Thank you and have a good afternoon.
So now it's 11 history.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ajay, and I am here with my colleagues Umang and Shirak. So, before you are going to teach you guys a topic about in history about the outbreak of the First World War. So, the First World War started in 1914, around 19 there. And there were some causes to this outbreak of the First World War. So my colleague Umang will tell you some of the causes of the outbreak of the First World War.
It is, it is empires and economics, imperialism, and mil- military rivalry. Military rivalry and empires and economics. My colleague Shirak is going to explain some of them.
But arguably, the major cause in the beginning of the First World War was the Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary. The story behind this can go all the way back to the 14th century, but for the sake of time, I'll rush to the early 20th century. Once the Ottomans lost their land in Europe, Austria-Hungary was granted by the great powers, which were Austria-Hungary, the German Empire, the Russian Empire, France, and Britain, allowed Austria-Hungary to take control of Bosnia. However, the However, though, by the people of Bosnia, especially the Bosnian Serbs, felt like they were being neglected by the Austro-Hungarians. They wished for basically a unified Slav state, and this went at its worst in 1908 and 1909, in which Austria-Hungary completely dominated and controlled Bosnia. The Bosnian Serbs and Serbians and the Serbians in Bosnia were outraged at this and wished that Austria-Hungary would leave immediately, but Austria-Hungary refused. This led to This led to multiple Serbian nationalist groups being formed in Bosnia. One such was Young Bosnia, a group of Bosnian Serbs formed for those who were against Austro-Hungarian rule and wanted a unified Slav state between Bosnia, Serbia, and Croatia, which would be known as Yugoslavia. In 1910, a young student called Branko Zebedic attempted to kill the the Austro-Hungarian general of Serbia. He shot 5 times at him and all missed. And his final 6 shots, he killed himself. He killed himself and asked for Serbia to avenge him. This inspired a young man named Gavrilo Princip. Remember that name. In 1913, the Emperor of Austria-Hungary, Joseph, ordered his younger brother Franz Ferdinand to investigate Sarajevo, the capital of Bosnia, to look for military operations there. Here, young Bosnians attempted their assassination attempt. While Franz Ferdinand was driving in a carriage with his wife Sophie, one of the members of Young Bosnia, Gordanovic, tried to throw a bomb, but it missed, and instead put a crate in the road. He tried to kill himself by eating a poison pill and jumping to a river. Unfortunately, this didn't work and he's eventually captured by police. But at last, Gavrilo Princip, the young man who's inspired by Zebedic, fatally shot Franz Ferdinand in the heart, in which he died a few hours later in a hospital. Princip, Princip and his allies were slowly sent to prison, and many of them committed suicide, or the others were just executed by hanging. After that, the Austria-Hungary was led into something called the July Crisis. Europe was in a complete mess. Now that the Archduke of Austria-Hungary was assassinated, was this a direct attack on the nation by Serbia? Austria-Hungary was this direct attack on the nation by Serbia. Austria-Hungary went to Bucharest, and some believed that they should go to Serbia. Once Russia heard about Austria-Hungary to invade them, Russia tried to defend their Slavic brethren by mobilizing themselves across the Austro-Hungarian border. Russia, the Austro-Hungarian border. Right, Austria-Hungary, yeah, and both Austria-Hungary and its ally Germany saw themselves as a threat, yeah, and they mobilized themselves. This set off World War One. This set off World War One. Austria-Hungary invaded Serbia, and so Russia declared war on Austria-Hungary, and Germany declared war.
Um, Next, we have our junior most class, year 7 geography.
My name is Jay Patel. His name is Shiv. His name is Meet. His name is Kush. His name is Drunish. Her name is Hid. We are going to represent of water. Why is water important? So I'm going to ask Kush, why is water important?
Water is liquid made of hydrogen and oxygen.
Importance of water. Water is important for life of plants, human beings. Without water, we can't live for 5 days. Over 2 billion people live in places that have shortage of water. Over 10 million people die every year from diseases spread by dirty water. Over 50% of the world's population do not have access to adequate sanitation. Sanitation is the hygiene removal of human waste. How to conserve water? Take shower, take shower, not bath. Do not leave the tap running in the house. Avoid broken taps. Do not wash your cars, wipe it. Use dirty water to flush toilets. So as well you can see here clean and dirty water. So this is the clean water. The clean water, the pH value is natural. Then this is the water from Nairobi river. You can see how dirty is it. That we can die if we drink dirty water. Even you can see the dirty water and the clean water. This is drinkable and this is not drinkable. Thank you. Does anyone have question? Anyone? So, Harshit, my answer is water is formed by oxygen and hydrogen. By oxygen and hydrogen. If you drink dirty water, all the bacteria will go into your body and it will make you kill.
You told us we can't drink that water, yeah? But first we can filter, then we boil, then we can drink.
Instead of wasting time boiling, you could just only drink clean water, yeah? Okay,
Um, I'd like people's opinion on today's event. Anyone with something to say?
હું તો એને કીધું કે ના નથી હું એને કીધું ના પાડી હું એને કીધું ના પાડી
Okay, good afternoon, all. Yeah, I really want to encourage the students and the Department of Humanities because today it was such a great, good thing presented by the Humanities Department. There's a lot of charts. It was so good. So for the Humanities Department together with the student, well done. Keep it up.
Anyone else?
Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, now we are learning every time. Even you have seen year 7, they have come here teaching us something. And we have learned from year 7 that water is very important for our lives. So every time we are learning. Thank you.
It has been a fun experience, a wonderful experience. I'm sure the ones who are researching about the projects that they were doing, I'm sure they had fun. I hope they did have fun. They learned new things. Well, I can speak for myself. I learned a lot about climate change as I was researching about this project. And yeah, I had fun today and I learned new things. Any other person with an opinion or something to say about this event before the judges finish counting?
As Rajvi has told us that year 11 has done the best, and if you feel you have done the best, next time you can come to participate.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Now it's time for the results. I'd like to give this opportunity to the judges to present the results.
Okay, so the performance was impressive. Geography performance, we had 4 presentations for geography. In all the classes, we had a presentation. So I'll start with the best class for geography, we had a tie between year 7 and year 10. That was geography. Those two they tied, they were the best. Then number there was also a tie with the other two classes, year 8 and year 11 geography. Then for history we only had two presentations, one from year 9 and one from year 11. So I'll start again with the best for history. The best was year 9, followed by year 11. So that was the performance for today. Now, something we noted about all the presentations, it's only year 7 that had a conclusion. All the other presentations, they lacked a conclusion. So take note of that.